Alright friends, we're going to talk about 2 weeks worth of reselling in this video. One of them, the first week that we'll talk about, was like, okay, it was normal. I'm not hitting any goals or shattering any records, but it was fine. The second week, however, is probably my worst week of reselling since like I started as a reseller. It was some rough times. 'Cause when it's all over, who's gonna be in your court? Hi everyone, my name is Becky Park. I am a part-time reseller on a variety of reselling platforms, which means that I buy clothes for as cheap as I can at local thrift stores and estate sales and garage sales, and I try to sell them for as much as I can on reselling platforms like Poshmark, eBay, my very own website. And reselling used clothing online is actually a really great side hustle, and it has been such a huge blessing to myself and my family over the past few years, and that is one of the reasons why I started this YouTube channel, is to share my reselling journey with you and share any tips and tricks that I've been learning in regards to reselling along the way with all of you as well, because as much as my life has changed because of reselling, I want to be able to share that with all of you, so that for those of you who could also use a few extra $100 or $1,000, every week, every month, I'm hoping that this YouTube channel is valuable for you as far as equipping you with the knowledge and information that you need to be able to do that as well. So this, I think, is one of the best kinds of videos to watch in terms of learning how to resell, and especially in learning what to pick up at thrift stores, because in these What Sold videos, I will share with you all of the sales that I made over the course of a week or 2 weeks, and hopefully you find that information extremely valuable as you go into wherever it is that you source for items to resell online, and you can just kind of have my voice in the back of your head saying, oh yeah, that's a good pickup, or nope, Becky only made $2 when she sold something by that brand. So I'm hoping that these videos are helpful for you as you continue as a reseller yourself. So in this week, you guys were so close to finishing out 2022 as far as What Sold videos are concerned, but we're talking about December 12th all the way through Christmas, actually. So I'm excited to get through the end of 2022 with you. I think we should do it by, the next What Sold video. But let's jump right into what sold for me on Monday, which was December 12th. I started off with a couple Poshmark sales, the first one being by the brand Simply. This is Simply, S-Y-M-P-L-I. This is a brand based in Canada, and they make very simple, just kind of minimal basic pieces, but they're usually a little bit slinkier. They're usually made of like a jersey knit or something, just very figure flattering, very comfortable, and this was no exception to that. It was this navy blue sleeveless tunic tank in a women's size 14, and I even put the word slinky in the title because it was. So this I sold for $30 on Poshmark. I had picked it up for $2.99 at a local thrift store, and I was happy to pay that because I knew that this would sell anywhere from that $25 to $35 mark, even though it's, just a pretty simple tank. So I made a profit on that tank top of $21.01, which is exactly what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to sell items for at least a $20 profit, and even though this was a very basic piece, it accomplished that goal. So Simply can be a pretty good brand to be on the lookout for. Typically, I tend to stay away from these super basic pieces, but even with that, because of my super low cost of goods of $2.99, I was able to get the profit that I was looking to get. The next sale was this Carhartt brown Sherpa lined full zip vest in a men's size extra large. This had zippered pockets, and it was just kind of that typical Carhartt piece that people like to wear. I was a little apprehensive about this one, mainly because when I found it at a local thrift store, at the same local thrift store actually that I got that Simply piece, it didn't have a price tag. And I knew when I brought it up to the register that they were going to be like,
oh, this is one of those that we have to mark up a lot because it's Carhartt.
And I was ready for it, and I had kind of a price in my head of, okay, if they say it's this much or less, I'll still get it, but anything over that amount, and it's probably not worth it. And that number that I had in my head was $20. So I took it up to the register, and she said, okay, I have to go talk to a manager because there's no price tag on here. And she came back and she said, $20, and I said, fine, that's right at the top of what I was willing to pay for this, but that's fine because I know I can still turn a decent profit on this. It sold for $55 on Poshmark. After the 20% Poshmark fee, after my $20 cost of goods, I made a profit of $24. So I was able to get that $20 profit or more on that piece, and it sold extremely quickly. So Carhartt, in case you were wondering, is still doing really, really well, especially their outerwear pieces. And then on eBay, I sold this cool Kuhl, that is cool, spelled K-U-H-L, khaki cropped athletic capri cargo pants in a women's size 4. These, I believe, were flawed. I think they had some stains and just some issues on them. They came to me as part of a wholesale pallet that I bought off of a reseller. So I had $3.92 into them. I probably would not have picked these up at the thrift store if I had found them because of the flaws, but I was able to sell them on eBay for $17. So I made a profit of $10.68. That's not what we're looking to make, but also there were a lot of pieces in that wholesale pallet that I probably wouldn't have picked up myself, but I just kind of forced myself to list those items knowing that I could make some money on them. And I just wanted to make sure that I was making as much money as I could off of this wholesale pallet because I did have a decent amount into it. The next day of sales that we'll talk about is Tuesday, which was December 13th. I had one Poshmark sale, and it was this Mark by Andrew Mark black utility full zip jacket in a size medium. This sold for $42 with discounted shipping, and I had $2 into it because it was something that my friend gave me before he moved out of town. He gave me a ton of stuff, a lot of stuff that, again, I wouldn't have picked up if I were at the thrift store, but stuff that I'm so glad he gave me and that I just went ahead and listed, even if it wasn't my personal style, because a lot of his pieces have done so extremely well. So this particular piece I would have passed on at the thrift store, to be honest with you. And you know, it's different because he gave them to me without expecting me to give him anything in return. I did end up giving him and his family some money for everything, and I'd say it came out to about $2 per item given the amount that I gave him. But you know, he gave me all of this stuff. It was already in my house, and because there was no cost of goods attached to it from the beginning, that's why I went ahead and listed all of these items. You know, it's different. Like, would I have picked up this jacket if I had to pay the price that Goodwill's charge for jackets? Probably not, but because I only had about $2 into it and it sold for $42, I made a profit of $29.88, and I got to learn a little bit about what it's like to have this brand in my closet. I learned that it actually gets a decent amount of activity, you know, a decent amount of likes. I actually got some lowball offers right from the get-go, and then it did finally sell because of PosherVA, which is a Chrome extension that I use to send out offers for me. I just kind of looked at my phone and saw that I had made a sale, and it was because PosherVA sent out offers to likers on this jacket 5 minutes after it was liked, and it always does offer a discount as well because that's what you have to do on Poshmark. You have to send offers with a shipping discount, and that's how I made the sale. That's how I got my profit of almost $30, and now I know if I find a brand like this at places like the bins or something where I'm paying a very small amount for it, you know, it might be worth the pickup. I don't typically share any feedback or love notes or even ratings that I get from sales, but I did want to share this one because I thought it was so lovely. It was for this jacket that we just talked about, and essentially someone was looking for this jacket to replace one that their partner had worn for years, and that is one of the things that I love about selling clothes online, is that sometimes people get really attached to certain pieces, and if they lose it or if it falls apart, it's very upsetting to them, and I love being able to provide a replacement for that item. We do the same thing for our son. He really likes these Lego Crocs, and every time his feet get a little bit bigger, I just go online and find another pair that is the next size up, and we've been doing that for like 2 or 3 cycles now. So just wanted to share another reason that I love reselling. The next day of sales that we'll talk about is December 14th, which was a Wednesday. On eBay, I sold this Banana Republic gray wool cashmere blend ribbed infinity scarf. It was just very classic looking, and it had actually sold before, but then I sold it again on eBay for $15. This is another item that I got from my friend, so I had about $2 into it, and I made a net profit of $9.67. So this particular item was not a home run, but that's okay. You know, he gave me some items that sold for like $100, and then there are items like this that I went ahead and listed still because I knew that there was money to be made, and I made close to $10, and you know, it feels good to sell something a second time and have it finally stick and not get another return on that item. The next thing to sell was this pair of Levi's Wedgie Icon Fit gray high-rise button fly jeans in a women's size 28. These sold for $60 on eBay, and I was very happy about that because I had $25.79 into those. I picked them up on Whatnot, which is why I had such a high cost of goods for that item, because not only was I paying for the item itself, but I was also also paying to get it shipped to me. And I do feel like shipping on Whatnot is pretty high. They have since changed the way that they do shipping. I think now they're doing bundle shipping, and you know, there's just some other things going on that I do think makes it better for people who are buying on Whatnot. But at the time that I had purchased this, it was the regular sky high price shipping, and so I had $25.79 into it, but I ended up making a profit, would you believe it, of $25.79. So I exactly doubled my money once you factored in, you know, eBay's fees, my cost of goods. It was a literal doubling of my initial investment, which is pretty cool, and I made that $20 profit that I'm looking to make. On Mercari, I sold another Carhartt piece. It was this tan, fleece-lined, full zip jacket in a size medium. I picked this up at a local consignment store a while ago, like at least a year ago, and I had $28.99 into that. It sold for $70 on Mercari, and so I made a net profit of $31.48. It was a pretty big amount into the item, but I knew that I was going to be able to at least double my money, which I did, and you know, I came out with a pretty great profit. So even though I had to hold on to it for a while, I am not mad about it. I'm happy to make my profit and move on. The next thing to sell was over on Facebook Marketplace, and it was actually a local sale. I have not had a lot of Facebook Marketplace, like regular, you know, you ship the item out type sales. I feel like as a platform, it's just kind of dying. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you're still killing it over on Facebook Marketplace, and if you are, please share all of your secrets with me in the comments below. But I cannot move things over there anymore. But this was something that I had listed. Someone reached out to me about picking it up locally, and I was very happy to do that because there are 0 fees associated with that. So it was this Lulu's Black Toast to You, that was the style name, cutout skater dress in a size medium. I picked up this dress at a local consignment store. They were having like a 90% clearance or something. So I got it for $1.79. And then I got another dress basically identical to this by Abercrombie. So I think that one is still listed. But this sold for $25. She came to my house and picked it up, and I made a net profit of $23.21 on that. The next day of sales that we'll talk about is Thursday, December 15th. I sold this pair of Nike like taupe colored low-rise running shorts in a size small. These sold for $12, and again, this sale was a result of PosherVA sending out offers to likers for me 5 minutes after someone liked the item. So I just looked at my phone and noticed that I made a sale. So there is discounted shipping on this. I set it up on PosherVA so that it was like the smaller shipping discount of $1.72. I picked these up for $2 at the Goodwill outlet in Seattle. That's where my parents live, and every time I go to visit them, we try to go at least once a year. I go to the bins because we don't really have bins where I live. I love shopping at the bins because the cost of goods is so low. It's like essentially the lowest that you can find. And in Seattle, you can find some really great stuff. These were whatever, but I still picked them up, and I made a net profit of $5.33 on those. You know, you win some and then you have some of these. The next thing to sell was this pair of Ralph Lauren green cargo elastic waist pull-on pants in a women's size 12. These I also got at the Goodwill outlet in Seattle. I sold these for $15 on eBay. That is because I had a 50% off sale going on some of the items that I just wanted to move, plus they were promoted at 3%. I'm saying that I had $2 into them from the bins, but when I tell you that these weighed absolutely nothing, like they were so lightweight. They probably weighed about 4 ounces. So $2 was my average cost of goods, but I definitely had even less into these pants. So we're saying that my net profit was $10.46, which again is not amazing, but I have had some really great sales in, you know, past what sold videos from items that I picked up on that same Goodwill trip. These are just kind of like the last few items that need to move from that haul. So I'm not surprised that these are the ones that are selling for like $10, $15. On Mercari, I sold this pair of new with tags, Can. I always want to call this brand Cancun. I don't know why. It always slips out as Cancun for me, but it's Can. Black high-rise skinny jeans in a women's size 29. These sold for $32. I had $2.52 into them from a local consignment store when they were having a birthday sale. So you just shove as much as you can into those little regular shopping bags, and they charged like $25 a bag. So my average cost of goods per item was $2.52. And so I made a net profit on those jeans of $25.84. $0.95. The next thing to sell was over on Depop. I sold this flax brown 100% linen long sleeve pullover dress in a size small. Flax is a great login look brand. Login look means layered look. It's just like usually oversized. It's a very relaxed fit. A lot of times it's pieces made of linen. And flax, I think, only makes things that are made of linen. And linen is a great material to work with. It's expensive. It's a great natural material. And usually when you find pieces that are made of linen, you can price those pieces a little bit higher, which means flax you can naturally price a little bit higher because it is usually made of 100% linen. And that's why this item sold for $50. That is with me paying for shipping because on Depop I do offer free shipping on everything that I sell there. I had $9.23 into this. I picked it up at a local pop-up consignment sale that I love to go to. That was my average cost of goods for that day of shopping, although I think for this particular item, it was one of my lower cost items, and so it definitely didn't cost $9.23, but we're going off of average cost of goods. And so my net profit on that dress was $29.23. I love selling flax, and one of these days I need to just keep a flax piece for myself and see if I enjoy wearing it myself. I have yet to own anything by flax. Let me know if you like wearing flax yourself, but I do love reselling it. And then this is something that you probably won't hear me talk about on this channel anymore because I don't really work with this company anymore, but I do have a few items still at The RealReal. I actually requested that they send everything back because they changed their payout system and it just does not work for me. You know, I wasn't sending them brands like Louis Vuitton and Chanel. I wasn't sending them the kind of brands that give you a really high payout. And so I honestly was just making so little money on the items that I was sending them. And I knew if I just listed those items myself, even if I had to sit on them a little bit longer, I knew that I could make a lot more. So I actually had them ship back everything that I had there, except for a few items, including the ones that you're going to hear about. So they actually sold for me this pair of Burberry rubber plaid print rain boots. They sold them for $227.50. And so I got a payout on those boots of $136.50. The best thing is that a friend of mine gave me those boots for free just to sell, and I had them listed myself on a bunch of reselling platforms at first and just wasn't, you know, able to move them, and that's why I decided to go ahead and send them over to The RealReal. And in this case, I think that that was the right call. So very excited about that. And then I also had them hold on to this pair of Gucci wool skinny leg pants. They were like trousers, pants that you would wear to work. And the reason I had them hold on to them is because I wasn't sure if they were authentic Gucci or not. My mother-in-law just randomly gave them to me one day. She just has clothes in her house from all over the place. Like, I don't know how she gets the clothes in her house that she does. People just give her stuff. And this was in a bag of clothes that she gave me once. And I was like, what are you doing with Gucci pants? And that's why I wasn't sure if they were real Gucci or not. And that's why I sent them into The RealReal, because I would rather they authenticate them, they deal with, you know, selling them to people. And if people, you know, want to claim that they're not authentic, like, that's The RealReal's problem, not mine. And so both of these items, actually, both the Burberry boots and these Gucci pants sold once before, got returned, and then sold for a second time, and the second time they stuck. So these Gucci pants sold on The RealReal for $96.25, and so I got a payout of $48.13. Could I have sold those myself and maybe made a little bit more? Maybe, but these were not like flashy Gucci, like you see the logo all over the place. Like, you would not have known from just casually observing them on somebody. You would not have known if they were Gucci or Forever 21. Like, there was no way of knowing that they were Gucci. They didn't feel particularly luxurious. I don't know. So that's why I kind of feel like they would have been really hard for me to move for a good amount if I tried to sell them myself. I was extremely happy to have The RealReal do the work for me, and I was very happy with my payout, especially because I didn't have any money into those. My mother-in-law gave them to me for free. So again, probably the last time that you're going to hear me talk about The RealReal on this channel, because I am not sending them clothes anymore. But it was pretty good to go out that way with them, you know, with these two sales. So not mad about it. On Friday, which was December 16th, on Poshmark, I sold this vintage blue and white reindeer wool pullover sweater in a size large. This is an item that I got from Fleek. Fleek is a vintage wholesale website. The cool thing is you get to interact with sellers from all over the world and pick out what you want to buy from their inventory, and they ship it to you, and then you've got all this cool vintage inventory that you get to sell. It is a little bit pricey, but they had reached out to me about doing a video, and so they gave me a huge discount. And so I bought a box of 25 vintage sweaters for men, and they gave me some credit to work with. So my average cost of goods came out to $1.82. So this sweater sold for $40. And so given my low cost of goods and Poshmark's 20% fees, my net profit came out to $30.18. You know, if it hadn't been for the discount, it came out to about like $15 per sweater, which is kind of a lot. But even at $15, I would have been able to turn over a really great profit on that box. But the discount definitely helped, and I'm, you know, making more profit because I had to pay less per item, which makes sense. But if you want to check out Fleek for yourself, I have an affiliate code down below. Just keep in mind when you're looking at the prices, which will seem really high, keep in mind that that does include shipping. It's not going to be for everybody, but I have had some people leave comments for me, people who use my link, and they said that they tried it out and they actually really enjoyed their experience and got some great stuff. So if you want to check it out and see if it's for you, especially if you enjoy selling vintage stuff, it may be a cool new place to source. The next thing to sell was over on Mercari. This was a really strange one, and again, it was something that was sent to me for free, but it was this new Level Up Way, I think that's the brand, glass hydrogen generator water bottle. It had like water ionizer technology. I don't know what any of this means. I don't know what hydrogen water is. I don't know why you would want any of that, but this sold for $50. That was my full asking price, and I made a profit of $43.05. A while ago, a wholesale company that would purchase Amazon returns, they reached out to me about doing an unboxing, and it was pretty cool. It was all hard goods, so it was stuff that I just was not super familiar with. And to be honest, I still have a lot of that stuff that I need to list, and it's just taking me so long because hard goods are so hard for me to list because I just don't know very much about them. So I am forcing myself to like try and list at least one thing from that box every time I sit down to list. Usually I go like 3 days without listing any of that stuff just because I don't want to do the research. But whenever I do, I end up selling that stuff for like a good amount, for $50, and making a good profit. So I need to just hurry up and finish listing the items in that box. I've had these things in my house now forever, and I need to just get rid of them, and the only way to get rid of them is to list them. So I need to do that. By the way, I have some great news. If you've been watching my channel, you know that we put our house up for sale because we found a different house literally 5 minutes away from the house that we live in now, but a house that we want to move into. It's a great house and really kind of fits the needs of our family moving forward. We're assuming that my in-laws are going to live with us, and also that new house has a basement, and it has like a really large unfinished part of the basement where I can put all of my reselling stuff. Right now, the house that we live in, my reselling stuff is all over the place. Like there are things hanging in my son's closet. There are always clothes in the dining room. There's just stuff everywhere, and I am so excited to be able to keep everything in the basement and to not have it infiltrate, you know, my family's space. I really cannot wait, and neither can my husband. And so we had put an offer on that new house, and it was contingent on us selling the house that we live in now, and our house finally sold. So we are going to be moving here in a couple months, and I want to be able to move out as much inventory as possible so that I don't have to drag all this stuff over to the new house. Even though it's only 5 minutes away, but still, it's a pain. So I gotta get all that stuff from the Amazon box listed for that reason, and also for the reason that this stuff has been selling for a good amount. On Saturday, December 17th, I sold nothing. I sold 0 things. So moving on to the next day, which was Sunday, December 18th, on Poshmark, I sold this Nike Fit Dry Tiger Woods Collection Golf Quarter Zip Pullover in a men's size large. This I got from that wholesale pallet as well that I purchased from a reseller. It sold for $25, but I had $3.92 into it. So once you factor in the cost of goods and Poshmark's fees, my net profit was $16.08. I think a long time ago, the Tiger Woods collection stuff did really well, but I don't know if it's it's still doing as well as it did, you know, a few years ago. Probably not. I feel like he has just kind of gone down in popularity. Like, he's just not doing as much. I'm also making this up because I don't know anything about golf, but for whatever reason, I just think that he's just not as big of a deal as he used to be. You let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. I know you will, but I don't know. I don't feel like I hear about him as much, so there you go. And then the last thing to sell this week was over on eBay, and it was this new with tags pair of White House Black Market flare leg gray wool dress pants in a 00R. These were given to me by a friend of mine from church forever ago. She would always bring like bags of clothes, and I swear like half of what she would give me was from White House Black Market. But these sold for $27.90, and I made a net profit of $25.21 because I didn't have any money into those items since she very graciously just gave them to me for my reselling business. So in this week of reselling, I will kind of go through some of the numbers for you, but on Poshmark, I sold 6 items and I made a net profit of $126.48 on those 6 items. On eBay, I sold 4 items and I only made a net profit of $55.78 over there. On Mercari, I sold 3 items and those were 3 good items, and so I actually made a net profit on Mercari of $130.89. That's more than I did on eBay and Poshmark, which is crazy that Mercari beat out those platforms with less items sold. And then on Facebook Marketplace, I had one sale for a profit of $23.21. I had one Depop sale for $29.23 of net profit, and I sold 2 items at the Real for a net profit of $184.63. So when you put that all together, I sold 17 items this week in December, and I made a net profit of $523.39, which is not horrible. That's not horrible for me. It's not, you know, hitting goals or anything like that, but it's definitely better than the week that we're about to talk about, so buckle in. So in the week of December 19th through the 25th, and I get it, like I think this is a week where people were out buying last minute gifts and they weren't really trying to buy stuff for themselves. They weren't buying things on Poshmark or eBay or other reselling platforms as gifts for people, because if they're buying them this week, they're not going to get it in time for Christmas and for other holidays. And so I get it, like I get why there weren't that many sales, but wow, like, whew. So on Monday the 19th, 0 sales, nothing sold. On Tuesday, which was December 20th, on Poshmark, oh Lord, okay. I have, I'm like pretty sure I have ADD or like ADHD, and that doesn't even like excuse what I'm about to share with you. But I feel like sometimes people will say things to me, and because it's something that either I just don't care about or I've just decided already, like I'm never going to be able to retain that information, it literally goes in one ear and out the other, or like into my eyeballs and then out from my ears. I don't know, like, so this brand, I'm just going to write it here. I have had so many people in the comment section like phonetically spell out how to say it. And I just, for the life of me, cannot ever remember when push comes to shove, when it's time to say this brand name. I can't. I don't remember what people said. I want to say that people have said Julie? Oh my God. I don't know. And people have explained it in such simple ways, and I just can't. It like won't stay in my brain. So that brand, and it was this yellow boat neck long sleeve shirt in a size 4. It sold for $17 with discounted shipping. Again, because of PosherVA, they sent out an offer for me. I only had $1 into it because it was something that I bought as part of a local reseller's buyout. She decided she didn't want to resell anymore and sold me her stuff for incredibly cheap. And so I made a net profit on that of $10.88. And it was listed for a while. I do like this brand, but their basic pieces do not do very well, and I am getting super picky about the kinds of items from this brand that I pick up. The next thing to sell this day was also from that Amazon box. It sold on eBay, and it was this new in the box Wimlet's Sniper's Aim Pro Professional Dartboard, Pro Dartboard Steel Tip. I don't know, it was a dartboard, but I don't think that the darts were included in it, and the box was pretty messed up. I sold on Amazon for like, I want to say like a few months. Like I did it for maybe like a year. I did not enjoy it, which is why I don't sell on Amazon anymore. But I feel like Amazon has trained me to be very aware of the condition of even the box when things are new with tags, because you have to be very explicit on Amazon about the state of the box. If it's like bent or anything like that, you have to disclose all that. This box was destroyed, but the item was still, you know, new in the box. It sold for $49.99 on eBay. That was my full asking price, and it was promoted at 3%, but I still made a net profit of $39.31 on that because that was in the Amazon box that was sent to me for free. So I love selling things that I have nothing into, and that was a pretty great profit on that. So I guess if you see dartboards out in the wild and they're new, you should pick them up. They seem to do pretty well. It wasn't even listed that long. Wednesday the 21st, Thursday the 22nd, 0 sales. I'm telling you, it was a rough week. Friday, which was December 23rd, on Poshmark, I sold this pair of Lululemon skinny Will Pant Luon pants in a women's size 2. These sold for $40, and I had $2 into them because they were from my friend who moved and just gave me a ton of stuff. He gave me like 80% his own clothes, but then the other 20% was stuff that his wife no longer wore, and this obviously was something that had belonged to his wife. So I made a $30 profit on those. I feel like Lululemon still sells, there's still a market for it, but it does sit a lot longer than it used to, but I was happy to make that $30 profit. The next thing to sell was over on eBay, and it was this pair of J brand dark wash bootleg jeans in a size 29. The color was 118 ink. These sold for $30, and I don't typically pick up J brand anymore because it usually sits for a really long time, but I picked these up at a local consignment store as part of their birthday sale that I already talked about because I knew that my cost of goods was going to be really low. I only had $2.52 into these, so I still made a profit on these of $23.27, which for J brand is pretty good. And it's frustrating because J brand is so expensive retail, but it doesn't resell for that much. And I think that's a good lesson when it comes to reselling. Just because something is really expensive to begin with does not mean that it's going to sell for a lot when you try to resell it. That is especially true of brands like J brand or a lot of other like I don't know if you want to call them luxury, but like really expensive denim brands like Citizens of Humanity. There's another one that starts with J, I feel. Joe's Jeans. A lot of these denim brands are really expensive retail and they just don't resell for very much. Another example of that is Joie. I love Joie pieces. I think they're so beautiful. It just does not resell that well anymore. So you got to make sure that you're doing your research. You got to make sure that you're checking your comps. Just because something is really expensive to begin with does not mean that it's going to sell for a ton when you list it on reselling platforms. On Christmas Eve, which was December 24th, it was a Saturday, on Poshmark, I sold this pair of Clark's Azella Jaslyn. Something in there is the style name, I don't know which one, lace-up espadrille shoes, and they were in a size 6.5 W for women. These sold for $25, and I picked them up at a local thrift store because they were $1.99. Clark's is a good shoe brand. It's a great like bread and butter brand, but I have found that it sits for a while. It doesn't move for that much, but I thought these were really cute, and I just wanted to take a chance on them and see what happened. They did sit for a while, but I did make a profit of $18.01 on those. And again, the only reason I picked them up is because they were so cheap. The next thing to sell was over on eBay. This is another thing that came out of that Amazon box, and this is why I need to just hurry up and finish listing the items in that box. But it was this new Yosfo, I think that's the brand name, 17-piece knife block set. The stand was acrylic and the knives had stainless steel blades. I had this listed for $39.99. That is how much it sold for. It was promoted at 3%, and so I made a net profit of $29.62. You know, I think the reason why I'm not like super excited about selling this stuff is because you can tell they're like cheaper brands. It's all like stuff made in China, but because it's new and because these are things that people need, not the dartboard necessarily, but like people need knives. If they can get a 17-piece knife set for $40, they're gonna do that versus going to Macy's and getting something similar for like $400. And that's part of the reason why, you know, selling on eBay is amazing, because you can sell all of these different things that maybe is garbage to someone else, but is treasure for, you know, someone else in the world, because it's something that they need and it's something that they want a good bargain on. And so even though like this wasn't the most exciting thing to me and it was really annoying to try and list it because I'm not used to listing this kind of stuff, I'm really happy to be able to provide someone with something like this for the cost that I was. And I still came out with a profit of $29.62. So really, everybody wins. And then on Christmas, I had one sale, and it was a pretty crappy sale. It was this BB Dakota tweed neutral wool blend short pencil skirt in a size 6. This sold for $13. I had $3.92 into it because it was part of a wholesale pallet that I purchased from a reseller, and that was my average cost of goods. So I made a whopping profit of $6.13. I think that BB Dakota makes some cute stuff. It does not resell very well. And again, it's a brand that is like somewhat expensive retail, but it just does not resell for very much. So in this week, I sold 4 items on Poshmark for a net profit of $65.02. I sold 3 items on eBay for a net profit of $92.20. And that was it. I sold 7 items for a net profit of $157.22. Oh boy, that was incredibly sad, and that was hard to come back from, but I did. And in the following week, I did a lot better. I mean, yeah, it was back to like somewhat normal, but that was rough. So let me know how your 2022 was and what goals you have for 2023. In my next What Sold video, I will be sharing with you the total amount that I earned in the year 2022 and just the different lessons that I learned that I'm going to carry with me moving into 2023. Already 2023 is looking okay. I'm not like posting the most incredible numbers or anything, but I have some things that I'm going to try. I have some goals and different things that I'm going to do to try to achieve those goals. I'm looking forward to the year. I think it's going to be a great year, and I'm very excited about leaving 2022 behind because it was a rough one. It was not the best year for me when it comes to reselling. But that's okay, because we can learn from our mistakes and we can move forward, and I'm looking forward to a great 2023. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to hit that like button, and I do have more What Sold videos just like this if you want to check them out. I will put that playlist right here. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!